everyone, how are you all doing? In fact, if you're not feeling so upbeat, don't worry, this video is right on point, made for you. But before we get into that, as you see today, we're talking about a little monster here. Well, at least that's how we usually see it. Yes, anger is this little monster we're talking about. But let's have the answer up front. Today we are going to resurrect anger's name in full integrity and glory. First of all, let's address the swing of emotions going on for most of us, especially if it happens to be you right now. I've decided to incorporate more information on current energies in our videos, so this is a good one to begin with. I invite you to be open to this, and as always, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. This is the time of the year that's not only festival, particularly for the Western cultures, but also one of the most important times in terms of our consciousness and energetic evolution. What it means is it's one of the times we feel the most energy shift within us and of course around us, manifested as events, etc. to play out. Now, usually we can feel a lot of emotions coming up almost out of nowhere, or outer things happen to trigger our emotions, our feelings, in order to do emotional healing. Briefly put, we're all supported by this huge energy happening at this time from the stars, the sky. We have winter solstice on December 21st or 22nd, depending on where you are, solar eclipse on December 26th or 27th, lunar eclipse on January 10th or 11th. The alignments of these big planet bodies create big energy shift that support our change and evolution. That word is very important, support. We're not a victim under their influence, but rather it's a collaboration and even support relationship. So as you may have already gathered from what I talk about in these videos, the way we evolve is through letting go of the limitations, the constrictions we carry in our mind, our consciousness, in particular through clearing our emotional tank that's filled with old trauma and wounds. Because emotions are what hold our limitations, beliefs, and old stories firmly in place. So these big energy times like we are in right now perfectly support us in clearing our emotions, clearing our energy systems so that we can move into a newer, lighter, and brighter energy, especially with the excitement of the new year, in this case, a new decade. And the way to clear our emotions is simple, to make us feel them. And then we can finally release them from our tank. So that's why many of us are feeling old and even big emotions coming up. Just know everyone's doing it. It's just some of us are aware, most of us are not aware. But we're all doing it in one way or another. With that said, just give yourself time and space to feel all that's coming up. Love yourself enough to not judge, not push, not resist, not hide from these emotions. Instead, feel them fully. Do not point fingers at the outer world or people, because they are just here to help you trigger those emotions so that you can finally feel them and clear them. So they're helping you. Okay, now that's said, we can restart this resurrecting the name of anger as an emotion. We're all programmed in one way or another to believe anger is bad. It makes us look, ugly. In a word, it's bad. Expressing our anger is bad. We should control it and we should tame it. I'm sure you're all familiar with these versions of anger shaming or blaming. But first of all, anger is just an emotion. Emotions are to be felt, accepted, and loved instead of being shamed or judged. That's actually the root of emotional trauma. We resist, we judge, and eventually we suppress the emotions we feel in the moment. Then they become stuck emotional baggages. Second of all, what we usually call anger is actually rage, which is a common form of trauma. It's an unexpected explosion of condensed and suppressed angers over a long time. This explains why a person can be so nice, in fact, too nice, too friendly for years, and one day throw up a huge rage that stuns everyone around her or him. Because, to give you a hint, being too nice is often the sign of a person suppressing his or her anger all the time. And that anger just has to come up sooner or later. It's like that emotional tank gets too full, it has to seek to release the pressure by nature. Either we do it regularly or it explodes itself out of our own control. Third, just like all emotions, anger comes with a reason, a very helpful one for us. That is, anger is like a quick spike of fire in our body that lets us know in the moment that, hey, my boundary is crossed, or I don't want to accept this. It feels off. I must speak up. So anger is actually a powerful, very useful signal to help us use our power of voice and actions to stand up for our truth in that moment. If instead we ignore it or push it away, believing it's bad to feel anger, certainly bad to express it, we become a good little girl or good little boy. We eat up the things that we don't accept in front of us in the first place. Oftentimes, these are very important things to speak up on. It's our truth, our boundaries, even involving physical hurt or abuse. But as we keep shutting ourselves up from expressing them, we not only build up our emotional tank so we're heavy and traumatized, but also we let the outside world keep eating up our boundaries. We feel smaller and smaller as a person. In other words, we feel less and less powerful. We feel less and less good of ourselves. We don't believe we can do anything or deserve anything. So you see, anger has huge impact. With that understanding in place, now what do we do with anger or even rage, which is suppressed anger seeking to explode from the healing perspective? First step, if you haven't started yet, start now. Become very, very aware of your feelings and emotions. Whether it's through the good and trusted iPhone alarms coming off every 2-3 hours, or with posters all around you writing, "How do I feel now?" to remind yourself to check in and get back to that sensitivity of your feelings. Second step, as I've said time and time again, once you notice some weird and not so comfortable emotions or feelings, give yourself time and space you need to feel them. It may mean give yourself the privacy to relax your body and safe enough to let the feelings come up more and flow more. Third step, as you become more and more sensitive, you will start noticing anger coming up in situations which can often involve other people in front of you. The old way would be to suppress the anger, be a good little girl or boy. Now you're going to take a breath and finish the business in front of you, and you make sure that once you get to your own space, you express that anger. Depending on how comfortable you are with anger, you may start with imagining the person that triggered your anger is right in front of you. You start telling what you think, you start telling what you believe. You may even add curse, shout, and scream. Just feel what your body wants to do. These are all very healthy ways you can consciously choose to tap into your anger. Let the tank release pressure because you're not reacting in the moment to the person who in fact may not be at fault anyway. You are using this instant or the people to help you feel your anger. That, bottom line, is a healthy way of healing emotions, to feel the emotions without blaming situations. Just feel the emotions. Simple and effective. Now, as you move forward on this anger liberation journey, you also find that there are moments you cannot help but screaming or shouting to express your anger to the person. I want you to forgive, or rather accept yourself beforehand. It will happen, and it's not only okay, it's a necessary process of reclaiming our healthy anger. As you keep feeling and healing your suppressed anger, you will find that you can use anger as a signal to calmly and firmly speak up without going crazy. But it's a journey, and it's ultimately a journey we claim emotional sovereignty, not reacting out of trauma, but responding out of awareness. One last gentle reminder, especially for a time like now, with this energy intensity, be very aware that you're not running away from your very uncomfortable emotions, because not only you waste the opportunity to effectively clear emotional trauma, but also you will have to feel the intensity again all over in the future. So why wait and why put it off? Here are a few ways for you to check yourself, see if you're avoiding your emotions or suppressing your emotions by distracting yourself or numbing yourself, such as drinking, smoking, gambling, any risk-taking activities, watching TV, or some of the more justifiable ways, such as going into groups to look for company so that you don't have to be alone and uncomfortable, seeking emotional comfort on the surface while not processing your own emotions, having sex to numb and distract yourself, etc. I know firsthand that feeling our old uncomfortable emotions are uncomfortable. In fact, sometimes that is an understatement. But that's the work. Not only we're here to heal and clear our energy so that we feel lighter and truly more joyful, but also that's how we are able to create realities as we want, easily and effortlessly, as I call it. Because we create our reality through our energy frequency. Right now, most of us are just creating automatically with all the energy and emotional distortions within. And only when we heal our emotions and clear our energy system to that clarity and sensitivity can we easily shift and adjust our frequency to create what we want to experience. That's a deliberate creator that we're all becoming. So once again, I wish you happy healing, happy creating.